broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Earthers, Martians, children of the belt, welcome back to another amazing AfterBuzz TV after show for your favorite show. It's The Expanse, and we're on Season 1, Episodes 4 and 5, CQB, and Back to the Butcher. I'm your host, Sean Overman, and you guys can find me at Sean Austin O on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm joined here by two lovely co-hosts this evening.
Well, I was going to say, go for the regular first.
Okay, hey guys, Maria Cavassuto here. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at MGCVSST.
Hi, my name is Kari Lane. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kari, K-A-R-I-D Lane, L-A-N-E.
Thanks for joining us, Kari.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I like this show.
We're excited to have you, and we hope that you become a regular.
Yeah, please. It'll be fun.
All right, so let's...
Syfy.
Yes. Let's sum up what you guys thought of these two episodes, like in 2 sentences. Go, Kari.
It keeps getting crazier, and zero gravity when blood falls.
Whoa. Yes.
She went for the 2 sentences. She's like, 1 and 2.
Maria.
I thought this was so crazy, and I'm just glad that we're getting to see a little bit more of the world and some of the politics that are at work in space.
Yes, agreed. 2 sentences for me. I want to say Miller is a badass. No matter where you put him, he's always the greatest guy, and it's good that he's drinking coffee now instead of alcohol.
It's an upgrade.
Yeah.
Is it? No, kidding.
but let's talk about CQB. Let's get started with that, because we have Holden refusing to recant his statement, saying that the Donager was the one that attacked the Cant. Right?
That is correct.
So he's refusing that, and right in the almost mid sentence, then they have vessels attacking them. Right? They have these small ships coming out of nowhere. It first looks like it's just one ship, but then it ends up being several small ships. Psych! Yeah, breaking off from the main ship and attacking them. Yeah. Right? They have to eventually break out even the railguns to attack them with CQB, which is great. It's perfect how they have Alex in the cell with the other shipmates, because he ends up telling them everything that's going on, because he's former Mars Navy.
Convenient.
Yeah,
How convenient.
It just worked out.
He's like, guys, the lights went dim. This is what this means.
Yeah, exactly. That's battle lighting, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I wish we had him here. I wish we had Cass in studio again for this episode, because he's so good. This was a very him-heavy episode as well.
Yeah.
But
we're jumping a hair ahead,
go
but
ahead.
just talking about him. I love the moment when they're having him pilot their escape pod kind of thing.
Yes.
And he's like, I don't want to do this. And it's like, okay, yes, I will.
yes.
Like, I'm sorry. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, he gets pumped full of the drugs that they
like,
use for the heavy G's, right? Because he was sedated, right? At that one near the end of the episode, he gets
even
sedated.
when he's told you need to do this now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, boss.
I'll try.
He's on board. He's
Yeah.
on board.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just physiologically he wasn't good.
Oh yeah.
And that's why he had a little pick me up from the ship, and that's
Can we package that? I'd like some of that some
We should.
afternoons. It'd be nice.
That's what he was talking about when Cass was here last time. He was talking about how the 0G serum or whatever it is, it's like a cocktail of endorphins and adrenaline and cortisone and steroids. It's all this
Sounds
stuff.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's all this stuff put together so that you can survive those high G flights.
Yeah, so you don't burn up or explode from inside or something.
Yeah, and I was actually looking at I forgot the name. It starts with an E. It's a name of the engine engine that they use, and it's actually a sublight engine, so they don't quite go light speed.
Okay.
Like, you know, like in Star Wars or Star Trek, where they can go faster in light, like get across the galaxy like super fast, right?
I mean, I think you see that too. That you see that you don't see them like flash like in a Star Wars or whatever. So I think
Yeah, so they really have to burn the engines like at really high speeds.
Yes.
And that's how they can survive, by using that serum. But it's cool to see that they can't go from one system to another system. Like, we still, like, as humans in the future, we still have to stick within our solar system.
Yeah.
So at least we can go easily between planets, but we can't go like to Andromeda Galaxy or something like that. Right. But anyway, so I thought it was fascinating too, during the battle, like right at the beginning, they launch the torpedoes, because they get some launched at them, right? And they launch them and they're like, okay.
So
they're just hanging out.
When's stuff happening?
Because they're so far away. They're like hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from the other ships that launched the missiles. And you even get to see the missiles or torpedoes crossing each other, like intersecting almost in space. And it's like, okay, they're incoming now. Oh, we can take them out, no problem. Blah, blah, blah. But then when the ships get closer, they have to do CQB, and they have to do they have to end up using the railguns. Railguns, I'm not sure if you ladies know, but shoot small projectiles with magnets. So that's what they're doing right there in space.
I just love the Martian overconfidence. Like,
oh yeah,
cool.
that's
we
visible
got this.
throughout the whole.
No big.
Yeah.
And you're like, ha ha. Yeah, the captain even
Shows
says at
on
one
you.
point, like, I just didn't think we could lose, and I'm like, well, hello,
Surprise. Yeah.
hello there.
Yeah, Captain Yao.
Yeah.
She got totally.
I liked her though.
Yeah, she was really
cool.
She was a really cool captain.
I liked an Asian woman in charge of the ship. I was like, yeah.
And you were mentioning that, Kari, that we have a lot of strong women on the show.
It's an excellent, diverse cast overall. And then I love that all the women generally have some sort of strength. They're not nobody's really been like any sort of wuss. I mean, maybe some go a little too far with their power, but overall you're just like, ooh, these are formidable women. I like it.
Yeah.
And the dudes are cool too.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Kind of cool. They're okay.
Cool.
Whatever. No, kidding. No, all the characters on the show are really strong, really good. And even Naomi, at one point, she's just like, this is further along, but she's just like, there's nothing I can fix on this ship. And it's just like, when she doesn't have anything to do, she's just like anxious and like nervous. And she's like, what do we do?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. She does do that in the next episode. So the ship. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I love the moment, though, when, I'm like, what's her guy? Is Holden? Yeah, I love when he's like, I have seen these ships before. And and then Lopez is like, what? And turns his head and is like,
yeah.
Please, talk about it.
Because so far
they?
There's so much talk about like OPA and terrorists and whatnot, but then it turns out like, or even thinking at first that it was Mars that attacked the Canterbury, and now it turns out that this is the same kind of people, I would assume, that attacked the Canterbury, and now they're attacking the Donager, and it's like, who are these people? Is it related to what we're going to see later, or is it some other faction, maybe other space faction that we haven't been introduced yet to? But they're definitely fierce because they have better technology. They have technology that rivals and surpasses Martian technology,
which is crazy stuff. What do we see when they board the ship? They board the Donager. They get close enough to do that, and when they come in, it's kind of convenient how we have like the Martians have like red visors, and then we have these guys have blue visors.
And it's mesh looking and stuff.
It obstructs their
faces.
combatants' view of their faces, so they can't tell who they are exactly. We can't tell who they are. We can't tell.
Well, they're human.
Yeah, they're definitely they're definitely human.
but
no
we don't
aliens
know
yet.
what kind or like where they're from, because
Could it be the OPA just causing all this crazy, I was gonna say a bad word, blank storm, just to make this all happen too? Because like generally, I think when I was watching it with people, it was like we always thought it was like Earth or Mars, but it's like, wait a minute, what if OPA is the one who's like, let me just drop this bomb and watch you all fight each other?
Yeah.
Well, that's originally kind of what it was, because even sending out, like Holden sending out that message in the previous episodes being like, we've been attacked by Mars and whatnot, it's like, that's not true, we weren't attacked by Mars. So it's like they know that somebody's trying to frame them and to cause some sort of, to really stir the pot. So it's definitely something like that.
And we've been talking about that Holden could be that guy who's an OPA member who's like undercover and he's trying to stir everything up.
Maybe he's the sleeper agent.
He could be the sleeper agent, the sleeper OPA agent. Yes, that's right.
The more I see him, though, I'm just like, no, it's got to be somebody else. I feel like he's got he's kind of like a backbone, and I just don't see him as an OPA yet. But you never know, like, because now I'm just like, what's going on?
This is like a whodunit in space.
Yes.
We have no idea who is behind the scenes, like pulling the strings, or even like the agent who's hidden somewhere, or the double agent, whatever. So it's going to be exciting when we find out who it is and to see if our predictions like come true or not.
Yeah.
Well, I feel the show does an excellent job of giving you a little bit of information to keep you engaged, but not telling you enough, so then you're like curious about what's going to happen, but you're not totally clueless. I mean, there's like little hints along the way, and it's just really like, all these puzzle, it's like the outside pieces of a puzzle falling into place, and we don't know the middle part yet. And I feel that's a big draw of the show, because then you're just like, oh, what's going to happen here, and then this piece connected to this piece, and that and you're just like, what?
I'm super curious to see who those people with the blue visors are. I'm like, what are they trying to do?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel like it might be related a little bit to, like, what Anderson Dawes says, like a belter, a series for belters, run by belters, maybe that kind of mentality.
Yep.
It could be. And I want to say it's OPA too, but like I can't believe that their technology it would be that advanced unless it's just like a small faction of the OPA who's doing all this.
Yeah. Well, we did learn from Dawes that, just because someone calls himself OPA doesn't really mean they're part of the group, which I love that explanation. That was great. And I feel that's kind of like a good parallel for the real world. Just because you call yourself part of a group, the main members are like, no, they're not with us.
Yes.
They use our name, but no.
And that's even further established with Miller's little prisoner right there at the end, where he's just like, I just wear this because it kind of gets me out of trouble or whatever. I'm safe, kind of thing.
Work.
Yeah, and that's it. Yep. So he's like, it's not loyalty in that sense.
It shows that he's in with the OPA, having that tat.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
So the ship gets boarded. Lopez mentions Phoebe Station, which
Again.
is another piece of the puzzle. Yes, what is that? What's Phoebe Station? So it's got to be
research.
It's got to be somewhere near Mars. Yeah, it's got to be a research station, maybe military research somewhere near Mars. And we learn later on that the Scopuli was on its way there, and there was another ship that was on its way there too, and the Scopuli was supposed to intercept it.
Yeah, I think the Anubis ship was like coming from Phoebe going to I don't remember where, and then the Scopuli was supposed to intercept it. And then there's something very important on the Anubis or the Anubis or whatever.
I love the joke of that. He's like, yeah, that thing.
Yeah,
That thing.
I'm like,
That ship.
just having fun with those words.
Yeah.
So we have, jumping back, we have Lopez escorting them anti-grav combat style to the ship, the Tachi, that they're going to get on, which is a frigate. And it's not just like a small shuttle. It ends up being
big.
It ends up being a full-on ship.
It's an amazing kitchen.
It's an amazing kitchen. Everything's so comfortable in there. The computer is super smart.
Yeah.
And an enviable coffee stock.
Yes.
Yes, a lot of coffee and really cool coffee makers.
Yes.
That Martian technology, they're the best.
They know what they're doing.
Yes.
But Amos gets injured. He gets shot in the leg.
Oh, that was gnarly.
And we see later on that his bone is popping out of his leg.
That was so gross.
And like Naomi has to like reset it and everything. And we get to see more cool technology.
Yeah, that cast thing was so cool.
Oh my gosh.
But it just goes, again, to prove that the Martians are just ahead of it all, because maybe, on the belt, like, who knows what he would have gotten. He might have got, like, some sort of, kind of like, here you go, you're all good.
Yeah.
But this thing is like, it's like remember, I think it's in the first episode when they're talking to the guy whose arm gets blown off, that you could have, like, a Martian gel thing. He's like, no, wait, belter technology above everything. Yeah. I don't want any of that. But it just goes to show how much more they're advanced. Just another thing to show.
That's right. He didn't want to regrow his arm like Earthers.
Yeah, with that gel.
He wanted to get a belter bionic arm. Something like that, right?
Yeah. Tough dude.
But they end up getting out, they escape, and right when they're escaping, that's when Captain Yao ends up saying, okay, we're gonna go code what was the code?
Scuttle?
Scuttle, they're gonna scuttle the ship, but it was code condition 0. That's what they said,
I
condition
like their
0.
thumbprint cards.
Yeah, that was neat. More cool technology.
But that kind of did two people have to do it at the same time?
Two people had to do it at the same time.
Because it's like that, the Russian mission. I
Missiles.
can't talk. Missile. Thank you.
Yes.
Missile silos underground, and like the two people have to do the keys at the same time. It kind of was that.
Just
like,
extra security.
We were talking about that, and we're like, no, somebody else got to do it. I'm not
participating.
Yeah.
and don't even tell me when it's happening. Let me like go sit down over here and look out the window.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I paused it, and everything that you said, like, it's on the screen. It says like condition 0, and it says like all the instructions for what the crew has to do to activate condition 0, and it's all there, which is hilarious. That Martian technology, all their smart computers, they want to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Nope.
So let's talk about what Miller was doing in the CQB episode. So in that episode, he found one guy's dead body in episode 3, and we didn't know who it was. Like he gets his ID, and the guy's name is Busy Batiko. He ends up doing some investigation, following breadcrumbs, right? He gets over to this one guy's party where they're betting on stuff. They're betting on this guy's subspace flight or whatever, right?
It's Slingshot Club.
Slingshot Club. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah, so
No, he's not betting, because that's what he's like.
Only.
No, it's just entertainment. We're not like.
Yeah, it's just entertainment.
That, yeah.
But they end up. He ends up saying like, "Hey, you guys, where's Busy Batiko? He's dead," and they all laugh at him.
It's right there. Yeah.
It's right there. He's what are you talking about? He's on the TV right there. So that's the guy.
Not for long though.
Not for long. That guy ends
Poor
up.
guy.
Now Busy Batiko really is dead. Nah, he dead.
Nah, he did.
Shoot a bed. I love their accents and the way they say stuff. It's so good. So
I wish they had subtitles for that sometimes, because I'm just like, even though sometimes we get clues to them and whatnot, but like.
Well, the last one we were watching had it like all the the letters of how it would sound out.
Yeah, but like, what does it mean? Because
you're like, can I get a subtitle?
Like stuff, but I'm just like, subtitle, please.
Yeah, but I kind of like how they do
subtitle for the subtitle.
They don't necessarily explain exactly what they're saying, so it kind of like just throws you into the world. Like
well, you're Miller then, because you don't know it exactly.
No, well, Miller knows exactly. I think Miller knows exactly.
Well, he doesn't know the sign
close.
language thing, because his buddy was learning the sign language of how to say it.
No, but then when he was talking to the tall lady,
the prostitute.
Yeah.
What was her name, like Jemmy or Gwen?
like,
something with a G, I think.
I can't remember her name, but he does he does like that or something, and she kind of like, and they get each other.
Yeah.
Like.
So it's really Havelock who doesn't know the language or the signs very well, but he's learning.
Which, hello. I thought he was dead, and all of a sudden, he is not.
Oh my
and
gosh,
I was like,
yes.
First of all, I was like, yes, thank you, because I needed him in there. I liked him,
he was great.
you know?
And then we were talking about it beforehand. I'm like, yeah, that was so sad. And then it's like, what?
Yeah, and then he just wakes up
like,
in the alleyway. And the woman's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna call the ambulance.
She was poaching his stuff.
Yeah.
She was.
She's like, let me grab your I'm sorry, you're still alive.
Like, oh, never mind, let me call the police. What?
Yeah.
Let me take this metal out of you. This thing's really expensive.
Yeah.
That was so horrible.
So he's alive. Dude, I told you. I predicted it, didn't I?
You're like, no, he's not dead.
Yeah, and I thought he was dead, and I was really disappointed.
Oh, I totally thought he was too. I was like, darn. Oh, it's brutal too. I'm like, ugh.
And I'm thinking in my mind, you can't have a big star like Jay Hernandez on this show and pair him up with Tom Jane and expect him to be dead right away in 2 episodes, right? Or 3 episodes. So he ended up, he's alive. And the series Belter Technology saved his life. So that's great.
Yeah.
They have him over there in like the medevac room or whatever it is.
With his little
woman
patch.
Yeah.
It's like a little.
That was a cool bandage.
Yeah.
Giant thing suction.
It looked like they already healed up a lot of what was missing in him, in his sternum.
Yeah.
And it's, he has that patch that goes on there, and he had some kind of thing that he was waving over it to keep it healing.
Now, we talked about it a little bit before, but do you think his prostitute lady girlfriend is actually bad? Because then Miller had that comment like,
he
so
said,
you
who
led
paid
her
you?
down there.
Who paid you to lead him down to the Medina or whatever? It's like, who paid you to do that?
Yeah.
And she's like...
He's really skeptical of her attitude towards Havelock.
Yeah. But I think, like, she defends herself in, what we can't understand, but she's probably not. And I think there's something nice between them, so I don't necessarily think it's it. But I wouldn't put it past this show to surprise me, and then she be like, super mastermind, so...
I think maybe even if she was paid to do something, I think she really does like him, though.
I think so, too. Yeah. She's probably developing feelings, just working with him.
It started off as the job, but now I really like it.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like the teacher-student thing, No?
No, yes, I know what you're talking
Well,
about.
I was gonna say the other ones though. If so many times where someone's assigned to do something and then they're like, but then they fall for some.
Yeah,
Like,
kind of like that, you know.
It's like one of the 007 girls who's really a bad guy.
yeah, and they're like, but
Work-
now I like.
But I
Yeah.
really like you, Jane.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we find out that this guy hasn't the guy who was Busy Batiko but is not has
Yes.
an ID spoofer on him.
In
right?
his leg.
In his leg. Yeah.
Well,
Crudely.
The memory crypt is in his leg.
yeah, the memory crypt is in
Yeah.
his leg, but the ID spoofer was somewhere else on his body.
And he had apparently a lot of plastic surgery too, which
Yeah, a lot
makes
of
him
other
kind of
things.
like.
Like you can't tell
Yeah,
who he
you can't
is.
really. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. I didn't know plastic surgery was a thing there, but I would assume with all the kind of body modification stuff that goes on, yeah.
Yeah, it could be. They have so much technology in the 23rd century. I'm sure they could have.
It's probably
easily
just
done
like
it.
stick in your face and pump, or like pump in. Just something super simple, you know.
Or they
Or
probably
they
just-
waved the wand over it.
Yeah.
yeah, just be like as much
Yeah,
as you want, like
wave the
here,
wand.
let's plump the
Or it's
cheeks
like the
or
cast
whatever.
thing, like it's just this liquid stuff that moves things
Yeah.
around and lets it set.
Yeah, could be that too. But we find out this guy's a data broker,
Yep.
right? And and so that's all we get out of that. Is that we didn't? Where
don't
did
know
that
what the
lead?
data is, no.
Yeah, we don't know where that leads, except that
Because it's encrypted.
it's encrypted. Yeah,
And it's all government information that was on there.
government info. That's right. So let's talk about Johnson now. So we get to meet Johnson in episode 4, CQB, and he's working on the Navoo. We have no idea who he is other than his name is it Andrew Johnson?
Fred.
Fred Johnson, I'm
Johnson,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm getting him confused with Anderson Dawes. Which is so many names we're throwing around here.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah,
And this
Fred
is
Johnson.
and this is funny too, because we have Fred Johnson is the butcher of Anderson Station.
Exactly. So it's a little. That's where you got.
Yeah,
like,
and then we
it's
have and then we have Anderson Dawes. So there's a lot of Andersons flying around,
Yeah.
like all these connections. So he's working on the Navoo, which is
Yep.
a Mormon ship, and it's preparing to take them on a 100-year journey, the furthest they can go out of the system.
for a new planet, new whatever, a new sun, close to a new sun. That's what he
No
says.
matter what, the Mormons survive everything.
Yeah, they do, which is so funny because I was just in Salt Lake City over the vacation.
Yeah.
And I researched what the Navoo was and all that, and I don't know if you guys know, but the Navoo was, I think it was the second Mormon church ever made, and it was in Illinois, and it actually ended up burning down. Long story short, it burned down. So ever since then, they actually got, I think they got kicked out of the church first, which is funny because it's like their church, like they built it, but they like got voted out of their church or something like that. And then a tornado came through and destroyed it, and then it burned
Oh,
down.
bad luck, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
So
Bad spot, build somewhere
yeah.
else.
So it's like a really remembered thing in Mormon history, and that's probably why they named this new ship the Navoo.
or do you think there's any like symbolism in what might happen to it?
Maybe.
You never know.
Could be.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And I like too how in this show they like the last few episodes they've been peppering the Mormons in there. You know.
Yeah, that was interesting when they first popped up because you're like, what is he doing? Oh.
Yep. Hey, do you like to laugh? Well, go ahead and show up at our Mormon laugh comedy show. Check
Yeah,
it
you're
out.
like, okay.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh yeah, it's what did he gave the name of Shadid?
Yes.
I thought was so
My
funny.
name is Shadid.
Yeah,
S-H-A.
here's my number.
Yeah.
Call me here.
Keep calling me even if I don't
Yeah,
answer.
That's great. You're like, oh. Best, worst prank call like setup ever.
Seriously. So, but the Mormons actually say, hey, you know, your ties, like the Mormon rep, he ends up saying, hey, Johnson, your ties to the OPA, we appreciate the work you're doing here, but you got some terrorist ties and we don't want to be associated with that.
Which he defends the OPA because he's
does.
saying it's not all about terrorists, we're
Yeah.
about human rights. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's where like the key of it, you know, the key to this series lies. Because I'm like, what are they still? Because we haven't really seen. I mean, we see like different areas of it, but like, what's the core?
Now, does Johnson and Dawes know each other?
That'd be an
They
interesting question.
must.
They probably do.
They must.
They must know each other
Because they're
probably not
both
besties,
talking
but-
about like how it's, you know, more about the rights of the people and it's, you know, specific people involved, not everybody who just uses the name as part of it.
You know what? I did research on Anderson Dawes because I wanted to know more about him, and he does know Johnson. They somehow there's something in that past
Yep.
where you know, like the 11-year like flashback that we got to see
Yeah.
between that and the present in the show.
Such a sad flashback.
It was
Sorry, I
super
just wanted
sad.
to-
Super sad.
I know, it was really, really brutal.
Very brutal. We'll talk more about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's a connection between Dawes and Johnson because in their biography, or in Dawes' biography, he ends up helping to improve Johnson's image over the decade.
Interesting.
Yes, it's very interesting.
Maybe they're working together secretly. We'll
Ooh,
find
yes,
out, I guess.
That
Who
could be a
knows?
possibility.
But I just feel like even in the first scene we get to see Johnson in, when he's with the Mormon rep, and then the guy gets off the ship and he's like kicking him off because he's so ticked off about what he said to him. He's like, oh, I wouldn't, I would be really careful about who you hire because no one can do as good of a job as I do.
That would suck if there's a malfunction.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wow.
Is that a threat?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. No, I'm just ensuring that the work is done appropriately and properly.
But that was the reps
It worked.
cue
Totally
to be like,
worked.
and you'll stay. Thank you very much. Continue.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. Forget I said that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's like, too late. We already dampened made the mood like a little bit dampened.
Yeah,
Total
totally.
buzzkill. And then he says, can you get your people off the ship, please? Because we have to do some sensor array repairs or testing, right? Yeah. Which obviously he doesn't mean. And he says,
guys, I must just be so naive. I'm like, okay, they're gonna repair the ship. I'm like, okay, I just must not get it because I'm just like, oh, okay, like I'm so sure.
I totally get the tone. So you're innocent, which is great.
Thank you.
But I
You're
totally
not calling me something else.
I totally get the tone change. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
he is just like
yeah.
so pissed. And then he says, aim it at the Donager. I want a status report. He's OPA. He's aiming it at the Donager, which is a Martian ship.
Yep.
There's got to be OPA
Yeah,
over
there
there.
has to be people there.
Yeah.
Could any of the OPA agents have been on the Martian ship? We didn't really see any of
Yeah,
that.
it could have been. It could be one of the people we're talking about. It could be Naomi. Could be Amos. Could
Could
be
be
Holden.
even characters we don't know about.
It
It could be any of the Martians too. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily have to be that crew, but yeah.
What if it was Lopez, who's dead now?
Yep.
Right?
Oh, I liked him so
He was
much.
so cool.
Or it could have been the captain, Captain Yao.
Yeah.
She
we don't
said, we don't hear about this in the next episode, Back to the Butcher, but she gives Lopez a data stick. And
Yes,
she says,
that was interesting.
Yeah, she says, get this
this
to safety with you. And,
Yeah.
and she gives it to him, and he dies not giving it to anybody.
No, but they're
a good
gonna
point.
take wherever they go. I assume they're taking that body out with them, so it'll be on him.
They
It's
froze
gonna
it.
be-
That was a cool
Okay.
frozen
Yeah.
process too.
Yeah, I really like that. It's like a good preservation thing
Yeah.
for him. Perfect.
They're not gonna get stinky, you know.
Hey, maybe he could still live. That Martian technology.
I was like, maybe. You made me think there for a moment. I don't know.
I think it could still live.
We don't know if there's any resurrection kind of stuff yet.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Still early in the show.
Hey, well, Havelock survived being impaled through the sternum in a dirty series alley in Medina Square or whatever that is.
Yep.
And we have this guy, Lopez, getting frozen in space. Come on. He's going to I think he's going to survive.
I mean,
early
I
prediction.
feel like weirder things have happened, so
Yes.
yeah, could happen.
Yeah.
Could happen.
All right. Well, before we talk more about the next episode, episode 5, we're going to go ahead and do a special segment. I'm going to do a short biography on Julie Mao, and we're going to also talk about Mars and what it is in this world. Okay, so Julie Mao, we already know that she's a wealthy heiress, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, she's also a racer. So we got to see the Razorback was one of the was something in her closet, and we didn't know what that was.
That
But
was a cool jacket.
yeah, it was pretty neat. So she won various near space regatta circuit tours. And she also joined the Far Horizons Foundation, which is OPA affiliated.
Yeah.
And we heard the connection with her and the OPA
Yes, we
tonight
did.
Yep.
with Anderson Dawes,
Yep.
right?
But they also mentioned the Far Horizons in one of the I think one of the earlier episodes because they talk about it being something like students.
It's like a college thing,
Yeah.
student-run organization, but it's still connected to OPA.
Yeah.
That's like having, like student college things going on in
Again,
South
but-
America, but it's connected to like communism or whatever,
Yeah,
like something in Colombia.
But again, it doesn't have to mean that like OPA is terrorism. You know,
Yeah.
it could be like human rights. You know,
yeah,
It's
Belter rights.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sure.
So what does this tell us about her? Okay, so she is an excellent pilot.
I was
Yes.
just gonna say that. I'm like
And-
a good pilot.
Yeah, right? And she has ties to the OPA. That's all we know
Yeah.
so
Yep.
far, right?
And she also, though, I think has a kind of like a soft spot when her
Yes, she was helping the
flame
kids.
or whatever, you know, and helping the kids.
Neville Bosch.
Yeah, and like not having to was that the guy's name?
That was the guy's name.
Yeah.
Her
Neville,
ex-lover.
her ex-lover, who still has that cute little photo of her. I mean, like,
That's a pretty photo.
You know, there's some soft stuff that comes out too, and not caring about having to take the anti-cancer meds just to help these kids and whatnot. So it shows a different side to her. So she is for the people.
We're really humanizing her throughout this series.
She's very
Because we haven't
daring
seen
too.
her. I mean, we hear people talk about her, but we really haven't seen her. Like, more than
not
a
much.
couple shots.
Yeah.
I would say. So, yeah.
She's like, right now, she's kind of like a MacGuffin. She's just there to motivate a lot of the characters, but she's not present, which is crazy. And we only got to see her in the first 5 minutes or even 2 minutes of the
And
first
then her
episode.
photos.
And then just
her
photos.
stock imagery.
Yeah, exactly.
For the rest of the
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, or her messages in her apartment.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. So Mars, it's the most technologically advanced human colony in the system, which makes sense.
So that thing that attacked can't be Martian. It has to be. Well, obviously we know that it can't be Martian, but is it from the system? Like, we don't know.
Well, yeah, it could be from
Maybe
outside
something
the
else
system.
is able to go that distance that we're not able to go yet.
Maybe, and maybe they're imitating humans.
Maybe.
But I feel like it's gotta be human, so it's gotta be OPA. I'm still thinking along that.
I don't really think that this is like an alien type show.
Probably not.
Where we have like,
No.
you know, I feel like it's more about like the human and the emigration of humans to outer space.
Yeah. So there's 9 billion people on Mars in the future.
9 billion.
9 billion. And there's
It's pretty crowded.
that's really crowded, but it's because well, if you think about it with Earth,
Well, I was gonna say, what is Mars' size ratio to Earth?
it's a little bit smaller than Earth actually.
But is there more land area that
There-
you could have people on it?
Exactly, because there's no water, there's no
Yeah.
oceans, right? They're still trying to
But
terraform
Lopez
Mars.
wants that ocean.
Lopez,
I thought the same thing. I was like, he just really would wanted to see my ocean.
I've lived under a dome my whole life. Please, sir, give me some water.
But you know what? It's kind of when they say those things. Now that you bring it up, it just shows a lot of the resentment that I think people have for Earthers, because they literally have everything and they do not care for it. The only one that I would say
want
really
more.
does care for it is Avasarala, because she's like she will fight to the death for Earth.
Oh yeah.
But I think like everybody else. Sorry, I just had a little spittle.
I saw that.
But yeah, but I think like
You're just that invested.
I'm really
excited.
invested in like, you know, in talking about this, the resentment that people have towards Earthers, because they really have the best and they just don't appreciate it, and they're, you know,
Yeah.
so that's
Kind of
interesting.
sounds like real life.
A little bit. We don't appreciate what we got.
James S.A. Corey really sending a message through the Expanse novellas.
Exactly. It's the sci-fi drama. So it's the Martians are also the wealthiest human settlement in the system as well, which totally blows me away because they call them dusters, and I feel like, oh, they're dusters. They're kind of maybe like belters because they don't have as much as Earthers do. But then at the same time, it's like if they're so wealthy, like it makes me think like it's like a getaway place. It's like where the rich people move because they can afford to invest in something where, well, there's a lot. It seems like a lot of people from our standpoint, but from their standpoint in the future, is that a lot of people? How many people on Earth? Like I haven't researched
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna say I don't know what's the population count on Earth.
I
I
have,
don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't.
Well, just look at the Mars ship and their uniforms and the technology that needs money. So obviously it's a wealthy place.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
it's kind of like people oil rush in like Texas or something like that. They're the South. They're the dust, but it has money.
Yeah, and they talked about the Mariner Valley having tons of wine there. They were joking about it in previous episodes with like the UN ambassador to Mars. He was like, "Oh, am I?
Your vineyard."
Yes, my vineyard. Or like me and my husband here, we're gonna go retire to our vineyard next year or whatever, right? And they're making a joke about the, "Oh, am I drinking your pee? Oh, this is fabulous."
Yeah.
Delicious.
Delicious.
I know this is a little bit back, but I was like, oh, I like that ambassador from Mars.
Yeah.
He seems so sweet. And
She
then, like,
really just, you know.
She shafted
she is
him.
ruthless.
Which is kind of interesting. We haven't seen a lot of her. I mean, we saw briefly in episode, I think, 4, when she's talking to some commander about, you know, what's going on up there. And but then we haven't heard from her in a little bit.
The next scene after that is she's on her roof and
Yes.
her
Yeah.
grandson joins her.
That's a neat scene.
It was nice. I like the metaphors they use
Yeah.
in the show, like saying about like she hates people who throw stones.
Yes.
And it's like it's and then the grandson brings something up about comets like destroying the dinosaurs and like, oh, but that's like hitting the lottery.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. Like it's like, oh, they got lottery on Earth in the future.
I love her
They know the
clothes, by the way.
concept.
Yes, she's always so
Gorgeous.
colorful.
Yes.
And like when she was sitting down, she looked gorgeous. Or
Yeah.
laying down, she looked gorgeous.
Well, it's neat because they're taking like traditional Indian sari and then like futurizing it, and it's like, oh, that looks really neat. I would wear that. Like, it just, and the colors they put on her is gorgeous.
Well, I mean, even up in space, I mean, some of the suits that they have are just so futuristic looking.
And the cool hair.
It's just everything's
Shaved
very
head's
like
a big thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. Hipsters in
Miller's
space.
really
Yes,
Walking
okay, guys.
the-
So if we go to outer space, we gotta shave like part of the head.
When you're
Hey,
when
if
you're
Naomi
belters,
can do it, like
Yeah,
I
looks
can
good.
too.
I could do it right now.
Yeah,
I would.
he could-
I could do it like
episode challenge.
I could totally be like Miller.
Yeah,
I would
no
be
thanks.
down. I would
I'll
be down.
braid mine down. I won't shave it.
Oh, the braiding, I like the braiding. It's a
Yeah.
nice little, it's an easy way. It's a
Yeah.
faux
Fake it,
shave.
yeah.
Yes, there you go.
Faux show.
So, next episode, Back to the Butcher, which is, I'm not sure if that's an allusion or like homage to Back to the Future because they go in the past 11 years and they have that flashback.
That was really, I love that tone quality of the footage of it. It
Yes.
really made it seem like a separate time, which is,
Yeah.
it was. So it was a
Just
good way to
killed
show
me.
it.
That just killed me. That was horrible.
I was really disoriented at first because
Yes.
I didn't know what was going on. I was
Yeah.
like, Anderson Station, what is this? But then the next scene they show it, it says
Yeah.
like 11 years at the bottom.
Yeah, they place it.
And we get to meet Marmon Brown. I think that's
Yeah.
his name. And his daughter.
Marlon Brown or something.
Yeah, his daughter Kari.
Yeah.
She's having he's teaching her to do colors, and she's not matching up the colors right, which seems like
It's really easy,
yeah,
right?
it should
Yeah.
be easy for
Especially
a young girl like
Yeah.
like she looked like she was 4 or 5 years old. It's like
Yeah.
you should know your colors. But then we get explained to later on that it's because they have hypoxic brain injury due to lack of oxygen on Ceres or in their station that they have.
And that's what caused them to protest
Yeah.
to the
To the UN.
Yeah.
UN Marines. Was
And,
that like,
and a peaceful protest. They just took over,
Yeah.
but, you know,
But they killed-
accident happened.
Yes,
But,
yeah,
accident.
one person
but still.
One
perished.
person, a bozeman, they said, was
But,
killed.
you
and
know, all
they-
things considered, if, like, yes, it sucks somebody died, but it's, you know, if they're more occupying rather than killing anybody or
Yeah.
violent protest.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a demonstration. Not
Yeah.
too bad.
They got kids, you know, it's not like
Yeah.
they're taking up weapons and fighting back or anything.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
some of the people on the station with Marmon, they did want to like stay there and keep
Yeah.
protesting and maybe even kill more people, like Jero, that
If
one
they
guy.
needed, yeah.
Yeah, that was like his lieutenant or his like right hand guy.
Yeah, and then the other guy, I guess Marmon or this guy, he's like,
Yeah.
or this. I know that we've had one person who perished, but like,
Yeah.
this isn't the type of people that we are. We don't do
Yeah.
this. So, but it's so sad that even though once they decide to surrender, it's
Yeah.
like
Too late.
no response.
The UN doesn't answer their hails anymore.
No.
And you know what's funny is that the guy on the other side, it sounded like Johnson.
And it was.
And it was Johnson, and
it
his
was.
nickname is the Butcher of Anderson Station.
Now,
Yes.
is he actually part of the UN then, or was he representing himself as that?
He was a part of the UN back then.
Okay.
He was and they identified him as a colonel. So,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Fred Johnson.
Which is kind of funny. Like I wonder how the whole thing happened because I don't know if the ship itself, whatever ship the UN Marine ship shot its own weapons, like it shot torpedoes or if
And
it
it feels
shot
like a waste
railguns.
to destroy the station.
Yeah, because it was an ore refining
Yeah.
station that they needed.
They could have gassed it and killed the people or something if they really wanted to just get rid of them.
They could have done that.
But then they're like, what did they say? It's like, okay, the terrorists have been cleared
Yeah.
or whatever.
Subdued.
How convenient the words change what happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
They've been
if we
subdued.
identify them as that, that's fine.
Yeah.
We can get rid of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Otherwise known as they destroyed the whole station and put their bodies in space.
Yeah. And it's just
Terrible.
It's super
Yeah.
killer how then you see like the father with his daughter like still in an embrace when they're trying to like plead to somebody else. They're like they repositioned, the transmitter whatnot
Yeah.
to go past the UN Marines and to just try and get something, right?
Yeah, and which is how everybody knows about the station now, Anderson
Station.
Station.
Yeah, that has to be it. And I would assume that he was named the Butcher after that because
Probably. Now the question is, how much of it did he do on his own or was told to do?
Yeah, so that's what I was kind of bringing up. So did the UN ship shoot, or was he out? Because he was outside. Why would he be outside? Did he?
It was a weird shot
Yeah.
that
He
he's
was,
standing
he
out
seemed
there.
to be watching, I
he
guess.
was watching.
Yeah, but how...
See,
Yeah.
everybody blames him for this happening. Why
Was
did
he just the fall guy?
Was he the fall guy? Yeah, that's
Did
a good
he
point.
push the button or did they just say, You're the one we're gonna blame.
Did he have like some kind of torpedo launcher, like a human-mounted torpedo launcher, and shoot it at them? That's why he was outside. Maybe to like.
I think that'd be a little too small to destroy the station.
Yeah, but maybe not.
But maybe not. Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, that's a really good point. That there's an ellipse. Like we really don't know what happened on the UN side, and maybe later on they're gonna reveal that to us and show.
I feel like that's how this show would do that, because they're gonna give us a little nugget, and then they're like, "Here, we'll fill in the rest later."
Yeah.
It's gonna make us think he's the easy bad guy right now, but
Yeah.
he's really not, because there's something else that happened, or maybe he was under orders from Aravasala.
Or yeah.
Am I getting her name wrong again?
I think it's
Christian.
Avasarala.
Avasarala?
Yeah, but
okay.
Christian.
Christian. It's a lot easier.
But you know what? Actually, I'm concerned now because Holden and his crew are like, Amos being like, tell him to open up a berth, we're heading in or whatever.
Yeah.
They surrender in a way, right? And now I'm like, well, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
They were successful at their surrender, but I'm like thinking like, is this person, what side is he on now? Like I understand that the Mormons are like, oh, we have questions about his loyalties and whatnot, but he seems like he's straight, like straight to me, like a straight edge or whatever you would call it, right?
You're talking about Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson.
Yes.
So then
He might be now.
Maybe
he,
now.
he might be now, or maybe this is all just like some sort of cover, you know?
Facade.
Yeah, and who knows? Anderson, who knows?
Yeah. He seems so like antagonistic at times, and then he seems like, oh, I'm, like it seems like he's playing a wolf in sheep's clothing.
I was gonna say a little passive aggressive.
Yeah, a little passive aggressive. So, but there has to be a reason for him to want the Tachi or now the Rocinante to come to him.
I was gonna say, if you interject real quick,
Yes.
we were talking about the name, and you had some
Right.
lovely information about that. Please share.
Even though Screaming Firehawk is like a really cool name, thanks,
Yeah.
Alex. The Rocinante is actually the horse in Don Quixote, so it's like the horse that he rides, right? And then the first episode of this series is called Dulcinea, which is like Don Quixote's long love, like, his unreachable love in a way. So it's kind of interesting, I think, that they use all these like literary terms or literary like
allusions,
icons and stuff. Yeah, exactly. From other books, at least that one. I know specifically from that one that it happens more than once in this novella. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting. It's just alluding to Don Quixote.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, whatever.
So
you read books.
I just like, in my high school, like I went to high school in Mexico, like that is a book you gotta read. And it's quite boring, but I mean, it's a great story, but it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
It might be better to read when we're older.
It's just it's so classic, it's very classic. So I mean, good story, but so that's where it comes from, which is kind of cool.
So when the crew is on the ship, we got Naomi there, we got Amos, we have of course we got Holden, and then we got Alex. They're all actually just relaxing after like the initial like, oh, let's repair the bone sticking out of the leg. After that, everybody's just like chill. They all start doing their own like vices, like the things that they want to do the most. Holden wants a coffee. He ends up pouring himself some after he finds the beans, and it's just like, that's like a precious commodity, because what was he using before, like matchstick heads?
The match
Because it helped with the acidity or something in it
helped
too.
keep him up, right?
pH balance? The pH balance in the water
Yeah.
or something weird like that.
I don't know, but he's trying to keep himself up, right? Or was he trying to go to sleep?
I think he wanted to go to sleep, but then he might as well stay up. So that's why he's putting the match heads in like the drink that he had before, which is gross, right?
So gross. No, thank you.
But then, so he gets his coffee.
Yep.
We have Amos searching through somebody's bunk, and he finds two things: a bra, and he finds some kind of Martian liquor, whatever it is. We don't know what it is. It could be wine, could be
it could be a brand new thing we don't even know about.
Yeah, it could be whiskey
But
in
certainly
space.
like alcohol related.
Yes. He was taking
He's
a
all
drink.
party in a room.
Oh yeah,
By himself.
Everybody retired to their own places on the ship. That means the ship is huge compared to the Knight, which was their little bucket before.
Yeah. No, this is a nice ship. This is
It's a
like,
cushy ship for them.
Yeah.
They have like a little pack of tofu. They have a little pack of hydration. They have a pack of coffee. I'm like, man, they really hooked them up.
Actually,
Hang out on that ship for a while.
yeah.
They're like, we're going to take this one. We're going to take this
Let's
one.
just keep
it for a ride, whatever.
spinning around, like a little tumbleweed in space. No big deal. We'll survive for like 25 days, 30 days.
Yeah, they made it seem like, oh my gosh, we have to get somewhere. We can't just hang out. I'm like, that ship was stocked with stuff.
Everything.
Why do they need to hurry up and get I mean, it makes sense because they don't want to float around forever, and they've been out there for a while. That would be nice to dock and be like, okay.
They're virtually like untraceable at this moment, so they're kind of like you said, tumbleweeding through space. But then it turns out, like Amos points out, that it's like, then why are we receiving a message if we're not traceable right now?
Yeah, exactly.
So that was kind of interesting too. I'm like, whoa.
Dun dun dun.
Yep.
Fred Johnson.
Fred Johnson.
Coming up to stir ish up.
Yes. Stir turds up in space. So we have them go to Fred Johnson, and that's kind of where it ends. Like, they're going towards him. I did see some of the. We're gonna talk about Miller in a little bit, but I did see some of the like a scene from the upcoming episode, and they dock together and they have a conversation. Actually, Johnson talks to Holden and Amos, and he says that he actually alludes to the size of the craft, size of the Rocinante. He says it was like a Covair class frigate for the Martian Navy that can hold 30 people in it, which is nuts. So that's how big it is, and how much supplies it probably has.
So let's just keep it at 4 so we can last a lot longer.
Yeah, exactly. They could do that if they wanted to. But then we wouldn't go anywhere with the story. No. Right?
I think they're going to be stuck together for a while, though.
The ship, the Rocinante, and them. Yeah, it seems like really important.
Group. Yeah.
Well,
the group.
they're the crew. They're their crew. So, like, they're going to be... And even Cass, when he was here, saying how, like, because they, like, rehearse so much together and they're, like, together all the time, they've become really good friends and whatnot, and, like, you know, hang out and, like, rehearse on, like, Sundays with chips and, like, drinks and stuff. And I'm like, how cool.
Yeah, that was so fun.
Can I get invited, please?
Yeah, I want to go, too.
Can I watch?
Let's go up to Canada. Yeah. Take a road trip or fly, whatever. But then we have Miller. He visits Havelock. We talked about that already. Then he goes through the whole Julia mapping thing. Like, he's just obsessed with her.
He's smart.
So obsessed.
Super smart.
Super smart.
No alcohol for him. He's just drinking coffee.
Focused.
Octavia remarks upon it.
Imagine, like, what he could do if there was no alcohol ever and just coffee, you know? He'd really have some productive days.
I like how he has his setup, like, in his quarters on the Sirius station, because he's just like... I want to have that technology now. You know, it's kind of reminiscent of, I think, Iron Man or Iron Man 2, how, like, Tony Stark is, like,
just, like
throwing all the stuff up, 3D images, like, in
really
space.
Cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then
I just love that I'm going to share my phone stuff.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Phone thing on everywhere.
Check it out, guys. Yeah.
Here you go.
So cool.
Yeah, there's no paper in space. They're just using
They're
digital
green.
stuff.
They went green.
Totally green, because there's no
in a
trees.
different way.
I mean, there's
No trees to cut down.
Yeah.
There's nothing. So.
No, they have to use renewable technology,
Yes.
which is why they got that stuff. But he puts together the whole thing. He's like, and we kind of mentioned this earlier, but Julie Mal's ship, the Scopuli, was trying to intercept something near Phoebe's station, the Anubis. We don't know what the Anubis was carrying, but she was going to go after it. OPA orders. But then who is it then? Is there another fourth party that we don't know about?
There might be.
In the Anubis? This is so crazy. Yeah. There's got to be a fourth party. That's the only thing that makes sense, because if she was sent by OPA, why is all this stuff going down?
Something happened,
right?
like in, you know.
But yeah, Miller's totally on it, because he's telling his partner, or no, not his partner, his ex.
Octavia.
Thank you.
Yes.
He's telling her, like, all of this is connected to Julie. So, Julie, right?
Yes, Julie Mao. Yep.
I know who they are, but the names, I'm like, the pieces.
She's
but
like,
yeah, he picks up on this is all connected. So he's the only one who notices that this is all interconnected somehow.
If you know what I would like to see, it would be, I guess you can't do it in space, but like one of those like police charts where they have like everything coming to this one person, you know, at the top.
Yeah.
Like Julie's the person who's
with
missing.
the little strings.
Yeah, with all the strings or whatever.
He's almost making that in a way.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, the best he could.
He could make a digital one.
He could make a digital
right?
one. Yeah.
It's like he has a giant board that's like paint board, you know, and he's like, throw up the pieces and stick there, merge layer down, you know.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is actually on syfy.com you can go to the Expanse subsites, and then you can click on each of the characters, and it tells you everything they've done and all the episodes they're in and what's happened with them in each of the episodes. So you can kind of like get refreshed.
They're not getting ahead, are they? Like,
no, they're not getting ahead.
Good.
They're only current on the
It's like,
episodes.
They give you a
As it
teeny
goes
bit of
down the line.
backstory that's like talked about in the show and just kind of lays the groundwork, and then
Episode 6, for example, which is the next episode, those ones are red, so you can't go to them quite yet.
Got it.
Right. So Miller finds out about Filat Cathari, and everybody knows now because he released that video. He's the one who staked Havelock to the wall.
Right, yeah.
Right? And then we have something funny happen. We have Anderson Dawes say, oh, hey, I'm going to sit beside you in your cool ramen bar, and I'm going to have a conversation with you with my whiskey in my hand.
Sean really likes this ramen bar.
I love it.
It's a cool ramen. Oh, it totally makes you want to go get ramen, though. You're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way they were making it, too. Like, putting it in the pots like that.
Yeah.
And it's just, I feel like that would be me there with, like, as Miller. Like, okay, I'm, like, having my cool ramen, and I'm, like, doing my work. Like, wait, show that again. Zoom in. Like, focus on his face. Identify that individual. Yeah, so great. Like, I love those
and then
those
some
pads.
creepy guy who sits down next to you.
Yeah, Anderson Dawes. By the way, I don't know if they worked this into, because his face is a little bit like natural, like him as the actor, he has like some marks on his face. They actually work that into his character. So they say that because he was like always in space, like the suits have damaged him, which is kind of interesting.
He does have a unique face. I really
does.
like that actor. He's great. I love his accent too. It sounds so cool when he does the kind of Creole accent.
Yeah, it's a very unique
Yeah, it's
accent.
almost like if it were like a Creole accent. I don't know. It's
Because
kind of a mix of stuff.
he has that
Yeah.
British background, so it has like
Yeah.
the dips in it that are like, ooh.
Yeah.
Just keep talking. You sound cool.
That's why you said he was in a couple of things, right?
Yeah, Mad Men is the main one that I've seen him in, and then Sherlock Holmes movie, and then in Man from U.N.C.L.E., though, he plays an American. So that guy is pretty good at changing up his voice.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff. Then after he gives the info about Filat Cathari, saying, oh, wait, he's not OPA. He's like, just because he says he's a part of this group. Like, it was like the Loca Griga.
That was cool.
Loca
That's good.
Griga.
Yeah.
I think that was the
Yeah.
gang or affiliation he had. So he said, oh, hey, we got him in this safe house. This is the only number on this pad right here. If you want to get at him.
Call this one.
Yeah.
Call his number.
All I want to know is, Julie Mao, where is she? He wants Julie Mao too.
Yeah.
So why
it's
is
one of
she
ours.
so important? She's
So
like the
does-
linchpin of this whole
So
story.
Mars doesn't have her.
Mars doesn't have her.
OPA doesn't seem to have her.
OPA doesn't seem to. They
So
lost
does
her.
Earth have her, or some other one that we don't know about?
Ooh, unless Earth wants to stir things up in the
Could
belt
be Earth.
and
We haven't really talked about
Mars.
that.
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah. So to wrap things up a little bit more, we got the Sherpa thing. We have Miller goes and he gets to that back room. He sees the gerbil with a prototype gerbil with a memory card in it.
Good hiding spot.
Goes back to Julie Mao's place, finds another memory card in it, puts it in his hat, and then whoosh, he gets captured by some random dudes who look like belters, right?
Yep.
Due to their hair.
Those people have OPA written all over them.
OPA.
OPA
Yeah.
all over them.
Totally. All right, so let's go ahead and do our predictions real fast.
Why don't you guys go first? How far of much of a prediction do you do?
Yeah.
There it is.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Like the lights too.
So fun.
Now, how far are we doing? Why don't you go ahead so I can get an
Okay,
idea
all
of
right,
what
I'll
you're
do.
doing.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do my predictions first. I feel like Johnson will betray and imprison the crew of the Rocinante. So Fred Johnson, who's the
Imprison
Yeah.
them. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's going to imprison them somehow. I feel like Miller was captured by the OPA guy, Andrew Dawes. See, I didn't know his name yet when I was writing. So who's that guy? I keep calling him the OPA guy. So Dawes. And for not pursuing, for pursuing Julie instead of going after this guy, Cathari, which is funny. Like, he wants
he
Julie.
said he wants him to
yeah,
do
he
that,
wants
yeah.
Julie to be found, but at the same or he just wants info on her, which is funny. And then I feel like Johnson's going to steal the Nauvoo at some point, the ship that he's building for the Mormons. Maria?
I think Anderson is. It's just we saw it, so it's not really much of a prediction. But yeah, I think OPA is totally behind the capturing of Miller, and I think it's because he's not vying for the Belters. So I think he kind of like feels betrayed. So I think he kind of wants to show him up a little bit. And I think that Fred Johnson and Anderson Dawes, they probably might connect at some point, either probably to help each other. And I feel like, I don't know if Fred Johnson is a good guy. I think I kind of get a bad vibe from him. I feel like he may have cleaned up, but I get a bad vibe from him. And I think that like whoever destroyed those ships obviously has Julie Mao, but I'm afraid that it's like we're not going to get her in one piece. I feel like she's going to be either super damaged or there's, I don't know what the currency is with her. Like why is she so important, So I don't know. It's not really much of a prediction.
I was
Kari?
going to say ditto and ditto. And I don't know how it will happen, but I think it'd actually be really cool if Johnson and Holden meet up. No, not, sorry. Miller and Holden meet up.
Yes, and I think
That would be a
will.
good conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like both parties know so much, and they need to talk to each
then
other.
everything's going to overlap, and they're going
Yes.
to be, and Miller's going
And
to
that will
see the whole
help.
picture.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely think it's possible that Holden and his team is going to be captured for sure. But they'll somehow get out like they've been doing, and then maybe somehow they'll get to that station so that they can meet Miller and them.
And
The
actually,
series station.
Yes. Thank you.
now that you said that he's gonna use or capture the people from the Rocinante, is that what you said?
Yes,
That,
he's going to capture them.
I think that he's gonna either use them as hostage, like, you know, as a hostage situation to try and get or leverage something with the belt.
Okay.
The
No, well,
Belters would fight for that, yeah, because
feel
they're
like
the
they
ones
would.
that are like, remember the camp.
Holden's face is
Yeah.
everywhere, so I feel like
Yes.
they're really pulling for him. So I
Maybe.
think he's gonna.
We'll find out as soon as
Maybe
he
use them
sees
as bait
Holden's
of some
face,
sort.
and then he'll be like, you, come with me.
Yeah.
You're important.
I feel like that ship, I'm going to do that. This is a crazy prediction that just came to me. I feel like that ship that attacked the Donager is
Yes.
the Anubis. And it didn't get destroyed. Maybe the smaller pods that launched off of it to attack and get closer
Yeah.
and board,
Okay.
those were destroyed. But I feel like the Anubis laid back, and like several hundred kilometers back. So when it went nuclear,
Okay,
it
yeah.
didn't get affected by
Maybe.
the debris.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. That's the key ship. That's got to be the Anubis.
What if Julie Mao's on the Anubis?
And Julia
Maybe.
Mao's probably on it. Ooh.
Boom.
That's
We'll
a good
find
one.
out.
Yeah, we'll
Yes.
see.
Next time.
We'll find out. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that about does it for us here.
Yes.
At the Expanse AfterBuzz TV After Show. Be sure to tune in next week where we're going to talk about episode 6. And yeah, that'll be Thursday. Our set time is Thursday at 10 p.m. for going live. So you guys be sure to follow us. Where can we find everybody?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at MGCVSST.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Kari, K-A-R-I, Lane, L-A-N-E.
And you guys can follow me at Sean Austin O on Twitter and Instagram, and be sure to check out my book City of Angels and Discontent on Amazon. Until next time, guys, have a good weekend.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.